And I think this is the last article. Listener, this is regarding TSA, complaint regarding the naked body scanners. And I got permission to put this up here. This is the email I sent to TSA, and so far I've had no response. If anyone flies, the scanners, these naked body scanners, have 2 yellow footprints you have to stand on. And turn to the right, and then when you get scanned with your hands over your head, it's terahertz radiation that they use. Learn from the mistakes of others, as you'll never live long enough to make them yourself. You have the right to refuse them. If they use it on your children under the age of 18, they will be breaking child pornography laws. I am a 55-year-old granny who was born in this country and loves it, but our rights are being taken away. Now, the terahertz radiation is a very, very potent form of radiation that literally unzips or rips apart, guess what? Your DNA. Isn't that funny? We just keep coming back to DNA over and over and over again. And Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. What was happening in Noah's day? Well, if you took a film crew back to Genesis 6, the main thing you'd come back reporting on was how the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. They were good angels, and they fell. They saw the sons of God saw the daughters of men. They were fair. They took them wives, all that they chose. And in those days were giants, these Nephilim, these fallen ones. They corrupted and defiled the seed of man. So much so that God had to wipe the whole world out with a flood, save 8 people and the animals on the ark, whose DNA hadn't been corrupted. Isn't it kind of funny? Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. The main thing Satan was trying to do through those fallen angels was corrupt the seed of man, corrupt their DNA, and we see the same thing going on today, but it's just going on a lot more subtly in some ways. I mean, some ways, if we look at these teachings, it seems overt, but back then, they came out of the sky, and this is where we get the Greek legends and all these legends of old of the gods and Zeus and Apollo. This is where those legends come from, most likely from Genesis 6. We haven't had anything quite overt go on, in today's day and age. It's been suppressed by media. But it's getting to where it's becoming more and more overt, and every time I turn around now, these stories keep relating back to the corruption and the defilement of the DNA. So what I'm telling you to do is to guard your DNA. Guard them corrupting or hurting your DNA. Because evidently, it's really important to Satan to do this to you. And there's a lot of different ways you can have your DNA messed up, as we can see. So, this is, let's see here. She filed this complaint, and her comments. I went through the naked body scanner, and again, these naked body scanners, they take detailed images of your body. And I'm talking everything, genitalia, the whole 9 yards are imaged. And there's all these strangers looking at your naked body in these things, and if you have your children with you, they're doing the same thing to your children. This is criminal. Absolutely, totally criminal. But again, it's a way to invade our rights, to take away more of our rights, and the airports are the ideal place to implement this first. Because, you might have a bomb or something on you, and this or that, and so we've got to take away all your rights, we've got to demean you, and I mean, I'm done flying. And I understand that's exactly what they want you to do, I understand that, but I'm not subjecting myself to this. I've just gotten to that point where I'm done. I went through the naked body scanner and was not asked permission nor given the alternative for a pat down. At the time, I wasn't sure that it was one as I thought it would have been labeled as such. In other words, she wasn't sure it was a naked body scanner when she went through it. The young man at TSA agent stated they are anonymous. Right, what a lie. And the radiation is 10,000 times less than that of a cell phone. What these double liars that they put in these positions, less than a cell phone, it should say 10,000 times more than a cell phone is what it should say. I know for a fact that this is not true. I told him, and I reported on the technology behind these in previous studies. I'm not going to rehash that, but you could just do the research up on the internet. I know for a fact that this is not true. I have told him I rarely use my cell phone and I have a radiation blocker to boot. Also, whoever scanned my backpack missed the fact that I had a full 16.9 ounce bottle of water that I forgot to drink prior to going through the security. And they're supposed to get, you can't have any fluids over like 2 or 4 ounces or something. I think it's 2. And so there's all these people, including myself, the last time I did fly, oh, I forgot this. You got to just throw it away before you get on the plane. I know for a fact this is not true. Let's see here. It happened at 7:30 a.m. in the morning, and there was no one ahead of me or behind me. I have 3 autoimmune diseases, and I live with chronic pain. I don't want my DNA unraveled with the amount of radiation the scanner gives off. I mean, why is she being so unreasonable? She just doesn't want her DNA unraveled. I mean, it's unbelievable what they subject people to anymore. I will never fly again. If I get cancer, I will consider suing both Delta and TSA. You could take lessons from Israel for customer safety. I didn't want to make a stink at the check-in as I wanted to get home. I did speak with the flight attendant Karen after my flight with my concerns, and she told me to email Delta, which I did. I will tell everyone I know about my experience. Also, Canada already ordered the scanners before the Christmas crotch bomber incident. And again, this was all the more reason that they can implement this draconian stuff. Now, this crotch bomber guy got on the plane without a visa in Amsterdam. Where was the security there? He didn't even have a visa. Why? Because they pre-planned it, just like I say everything virtually that we see on a report on a weekly basis, they meant to do it. That way they can create the crisis, they can create the chaos, and then they can bring about their order. And in this case, it was the order they brought in were the naked body scanners. Not only where they could take naked body scans of your body, which is about the most invasive thing you could do to somebody, but they could also rip apart your DNA with the terahertz radiation. That was the order they brought from the crotch bomber. This is how this works. This is how everything works in the world at this point. So, where was all the security there? It's all about the money, and that's another thing about the money. Who's ever making them will make a lot of money. It's also about the other 2 things I just said. I feel so sorry for all the good flight attendants and the pilots we have. Sincerely, could you imagine if you were having to walk through those things all the time? Oh my word, they're as good as... you talk about cancer.